Hello lovely people, this is the kitten in the goat in Kendal. This is my monthly walkthrough of our free pattern. If you're on our email list, your pattern will have popped into your email. If you're not on our email list, you need to be on it so you get a free pattern every month. This month, this is an absolute classic. This is your Farmhouse Tea Cosy. That's what it looks like. That's the classic Farmhouse Tea Cosy. I'm also looking at a couple of different ways you can make the pattern different. That's the intriguing thing about knitting, and this is my jam. I love playing with colours and textures. So get your pattern, follow along with me, and we'll make your tea cosy.
Down a little alley in the heart of Kendal town is a tiny independent yarn shop. Welcome to the wonderful world of the kitten and the goat.
This is double knitting, Wendy Supreme, 4mm needles. I've worked 5 plain rows of knitting. What I'm going to do is give you several options to create patterns in the bumps of your tea cosy. There's a traditional farmhouse look, but we can also do other things as well. The plain knitting is the very simplest. They all use the same technique to handle the yarn. So once you've done it in plain knitting, you can then be a little bit adventurous and try some of the other twists on the pattern. It's very simple. I do promise you'll love this. Right, the pattern says knit 2 stitches in yarn A. This is yarn A that we started working with. So we're going to knit 2 stitches. Now we're going to take our other yarn, find a little bit tail of our other yarn, put it behind the work, and we're going to twist it around that a little bit so that the two sit closely together. And we're going to knit 8. Let's just separate it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to carry on knitting, but we need to change colour for our next stripe. So what you need to do is go back, hang on to that silly little tail, otherwise it'll be off. Go back here, give it a tug. You don't have to pull really hard. You just need to put a bit of tension on it so that it pulls itself to create the shaping that we want. Now we want to twist it round this so it's secure. A couple of things that does for you: it helps lock the length in place because you've got a good long length, and it also prevents the stitches getting gappy when you change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're going to change colours again. I tend to tuck the needle, point of the needle in there to keep it still while I'm doing this. So we're going to wrap that right around so that it's got that twist in it. Don't let the stitches spread out, keep them fairly close together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, colour change time. Tuck that in. Just helps you balance everything. You've got a lot going on. with 2 needles and 2 yarns, and you've got to do this little twist to keep it all neat and tucked up at the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It'll take a few rows for you to be able to see how this produces a bump. It also makes a double insulating layer along the back, which is really good for keeping your teapot warm, which is what we're trying to do, isn't it? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Starting to bunch up together now. Right, so we need to change to the grey, wrap it round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Tuck it in. Wrap it round. Get your fingers out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll take you with me right to the end of this, because there's stuff you're going to need to know when you get to the end of the row. So you might as well be reminded to keep doing your twisting. Otherwise we're going to be all bitty. So 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to do a little twisty bit. Once you've laid your first line down, you don't have to count them and concentrate quite as much, because you're putting colour on top of colour. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last 2. As always, watch the beginning and the end of the row, because they get fiddly. Right, so we're at the end of the row. Because we've done all that twisting, you will find that your yarn has got itself all twisted up like that. I would suggest that rather than faff about trying to twist and untwist as you go, you get into the habit of twisting all the yarns around the same way, so that it all lays flat and straightforward. And when you get to the end of the row, pull the where it's all twisted round each other, just gently separate it and let your knitting needle carry down and untwist it like that. And then you've got your 2 separate rows. You can carry on, and you carry on with a knit stitch. The first example of this pattern is that every stitch, every row is a knit row. So we're going to go along, we're going to put 2 stitches on the top of there. We're going to put grey on top of grey, mustard on top of mustard, grey on top of grey. And I'll work a little bit so you can see it plain. and you can see how the bumps start to form, and then we'll have another look at a different type of pattern on the columns for you. Right, I've worked a little bit, firstly so you can see how the pattern starts to form itself, and secondly so when I show you the second row it'll make a little bit more sense. See how the loops pull across the back to form the bumps in the front. Just let it do its own thing. Make sure you twist at the ends so that you don't get this lifting and a gap form here. This is just knit, 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 knit every row. So when you are doing your second row, there's a little bit of fiddling going on. We're going to knit 2, but we need to bring the yarn to the back of the work so it's consistent with everything else. Do your twist, take the yarn to the front of the work, make sure it's all tucked away, then knit in the next stripe colour. Don't have to do anything with the other yarn, you're just doing that. Then you have to bring this to the back. You've got to twist these two round each other. Oh, look at that. Sorry, I've been journaling and my fingers covered in ink. I've washed them several times, it's just stains. Then take to the front and we knit. You can see my hands aren't crafted because I carry it all over my hands. Daft elephant, aren't I? Knit along there. Bring your yarn to the back. You've got to do your twist. Get your next colour. Take it to the front. Make sure you've got no gappy at the back. Then you can do your knitting. See, it's very straightforward. It's not a problem. You just need to be aware of. Bring it back. Twist. Take your new colour forward. Make sure you're reasonably, you don't have to give it a hard tug. This will all eventually sort itself out. It will even itself up and smooth itself out. Your first rows aren't very bumpy, which is quite good because it sits around the bottom of your teapot. It gets more bumps as you go up. It gets more defined because it's got more space to spread around in. So we're finishing that colour. Yarn to the back. We're going to twist. We're going to take the new colour to the front. And we're going to knit along with that. Okay, now I'm going to finish this row, then I'm actually going to change pattern, I think, and show you a different type of pattern. Okay, pattern number 2. We've just been working in plain knit, which gives us this very textured bumpy knit effect. But you could work it in stocking stitch, which is a row of purl and a row of knitting. So we've done a normal knit row. You see, it brings the bumps to the back. So now on the way back, we're going to do a purl row. We still have to twist the yarns around each other so that they stay connected at the changeover, but we're going to work along doing the purl stitch so that we bring the bump onto the back and keep a flat side on the front. Doesn't make any difference to how the back will look because you're still creating these tunnels behind the bump, but the front will start to work up as flat. You still have to twist, and you still have to untwist at the end of each line. It's much safer. You could, if you like, work this in one colour and just get the stitch effect rather than the two colours. Process is exactly the same though. There's no shortcut. You still have to have two yarns and swap them over. And then we start to get flat. I've got another pattern that you could do like this, so I'll do a good piece of this so you can see the difference, and then we'll look at another pattern for you. So here we go. I've worked a little bit in the stocking stitch front. You can see the difference. That gives you really strong, went wrong there, look at that. That gives you really strong definition. This is a bit softer, still got the more fabricy soft pleats in it. I'm going to try something a little bit different now. I've never done this before. This is the fun bit. This is all the experimenting. So I'm going to try and do like a basket weave finish. So you do that. We have to switch those around. Then we have to bring that forward to work that. This is all the fun of it, the experimenting bit. Okay, then we take that to the back, we twist them round, and the next one is a knit. 2, 6, 7, 8. I'll put my mistake right just because I can, and we're looking at a different effect. So we twist them round. We're going to bring that to the front. 1, 2. Now we're back to where the stripes should be. 4, 5, 6. Fancy that, getting all that way, that never noticing. Obviously if it was for a finished project I'd take it back, but there you go, we still all make mistakes. It goes to the back, that comes round there, and we're going to knit. Oh, it's getting a bit stiff. That's because of all the thick layers at the back. And we're going to swap them round. We're going to bring that to the front and we're going to purl. Now I'm going to carry on in that fashion. Basket weave is when you work a few rows on of like on like. I shall probably work 8, possibly 10 rows of the stitches as they lie. So you'll get a block of this, and then you change the stitches so it goes into a block of this. It's kind of alternate, this and this. So let me build up a little bit body of pattern and we'll see if that works, shall we? I've worked a few patterns in, it's called basket weave. This is reverse stocking stitch as opposed to the knit. The knit stitch is a little bit spread out and the reverse stocking stitch is closer together. Makes a very interesting texture to your teapot. This is the fun part of knitting, messing about with colours and textures. So we've got 3 different styles, however ambitious you want to be. I'll include them all in the pattern. The basic pattern that's the classic Farmhouse Tea Cosy. Then if you fancy something smooth, you'll get your few rows of stitching and then you'll get flat. And if you have fancy a go at basket weave, you'll have a few rows of knit and then you'll go into your basket weave. You make 2 sides the same, you stitch up wherever you need to. This isn't to length, this is just so I can experiment with patterns to show you. You sew up for where you need length. The top is very simple, you just do it in one colour and it's 2 stitches together and it just decreases very quickly. If you decide to order the kit, it's going to have a pom-pom with it, to put a pom-pom on the top of your tea cosy. Okay, I'll include this as the main pattern and this will be variations below it. So have a lovely time and do send me pictures of your teapot having a tea party. See you next month. Now that we've walked through how to make a tea cosy, this is really easy to adjust for different sizes. The columns are 8 stitches wide. You can do them 6 stitches wide to get a finer look on it. If you want it bigger, this has only got 2 stitches on the side for you to join up. Add more. It doesn't matter if it doesn't. You could put 4 on it, you could put 6 on it. A small number on the end is better so that you get a flat bit to sew together. But just add or take out columns as you fancy it for the shape of your teapot. That was originally sized for the classic Brown Betty teapot, you know, the round brown one that you put on the dinner tables. I think it was a 4-person Brown Betty teapot. But as I say, just add whatever you want on the end to make it bigger for your teapot, and just up and down for a smaller. If you want a small teapot, do it in columns of 4 or 6 and just do the size you want for a baby teapot. It's really easy to adjust. I'll put some notes on the bottom of the pattern so you can follow all that gibberish that I've just spurted out. So we'll see you soon. This little video is brought to you as part of our virtual knitting circle. If you join our email list, every month you will get a free knitting pattern pop through your email box. And that's it. You don't have to do any further action. You get a free pattern. I also upload on YouTube a little walkthrough of the pattern, various little tweaks, twiddles and things you might need to know to make it easier for you. And a fortnight later, you get a technique video, usually builds on what we've just made, or it might be I discuss a design feature or something like that, just to build your knowledge bank and help you. If you want to go on and buy the kit, that's fantastic. It's all on the website. We have a website. If you want to buy yarns and wools from us, we'd be exceedingly grateful. We are a tiny little independent knitting shop doing the best to help you knit. See you soon.